And welcome to the Review Tuesday. My name is Ruben, and this is my review for The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, a new Lionsgate film. This is non-spoilers, so don't worry about that. I'm just going to jump straight into it. The bodyguard, Michael Bryce, continues his friendship with assassin Darius Kincaid as they try to save Darius's wife, Sonia. Except the first one definitely had some issues. One of them was the filming technique they used, which is very shallow focus, sometimes out of focus, not even in the shots that they were focused on. Like when they were focused on, there was this slight issue. I think it had to do with the lighting and the camera they were using. If you go back and watch that now, it'll probably irritate you now that I've mentioned it. Apart from that, I didn't mind the first one, and I probably enjoyed it more than the critics and the review, a lot of the reviewers said about the first film. I love the camaraderie between Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson. I like the idea of this assassin and bodyguard having to come together kind of to rescue the wife, in the roundabout way, and the action sequences were fun. But that's not to say we hadn't seen something like that before. I think what made the good parts in that film that kind of worked were the camaraderie and the lines that Ryan Reynolds is able to produce. And if you get someone on screen that is able to reciprocate that, then it works. And I thought Samuel L. Jackson and Ryan Reynolds, they pulled that off well. So I was excited to see what they would do with the second film. And obviously we've had that little sequence at the end of the first film showing us how crazy Mr. Kincaid's wife is. And I was really hoping that we'd get more of that craziness from Salma Hayek, in the sense of that kind of brutal action sequences with the craziness that we saw at the end of that film. And for the most part, we don't get that. There is some crazy moment, and it is fairly violent. But I feel like when you have this type of comedy action film that we've seen 1,000 times before, you kind of really needed to head straight into or double down into those things that work, like the violence. I think if it was much more gory and gone down the B kind of action movie style with the tongue-in-cheek that they're so evidently going for in this film, then if there were arms chopped off and heads splaying and loads more blood just sprayed about, I think that could have worked really well. For the most part, there is some violence, but it's just a lot. It's just a lot going on, and at some point you don't care, because all the action sequences you've seen before, they're not like John Wick style. They're not as good as that. There's some action sequences that you're enjoying, but again, it's a film that you can stick on in the background. And so what this film leans into then, or what you have left for this film, is again the camaraderie, and that works for the most part. I laughed out loud 3 times. One kind of really loud laugh, and 2 other kind of that's really funny. For the most other part, I was enjoying the action sequences that this showed, but I was definitely clock watching as well. The story is nonsense as well. It's this guy with the MacGuffin that's going to take on and destroy a city. And there's a couple of other actors in this film that I wasn't expecting to see, and they're okay. They're the generic bad guy or the generic person that you don't expect much more. The characters aren't fleshed out at all. The only fleshing out that we get really is from our 3 main protagonists, and even that is superficial at most. The thing that works is the conversation and the lines given to Ryan Reynolds, which I feel a lot of it is probably off the cuff, and the banter between the 3 characters, and that works most of the time. Sometimes it just doesn't hit the mark. So my feeling for this film is like, yeah, I'm enjoying it, then I'm not enjoying it. It's a meh film. It's not terrible, and there are definitely moments I enjoyed it, and it's an action film we've seen, and if I made a film like this, I wouldn't do any better. I hope I would, but I don't have the skills that they do, even with the filming that I've done already. Being on set and filming, being in feature films, I know how hard it is to make films. I know that it's the sum of all the parts, and not all the parts work in this. That's my opinion. So I'm going to give this a straight down the line C, because I didn't hate it, and I didn't love it. There were just moments in this that made me crack up laughing. I enjoyed the action sequences for what it was. This will sate you if you love Ryan Reynolds until you see Free Guy, and then if you're waiting for Deadpool 3, then Free Guy will sate you until that comes, hopefully not too long. But for now, it's fun, okay? So let me know in the comments below what you thought about this film. Thanks so much for watching this, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.